Hi, I'm Dr. Ken, and you are listening to The Other Side Radio with Jeremy and Joshua Davis on 91X.
The Other Side Media Group and 91X now present The Other Side Radio Show, a program about people who make a difference from all walks of life in Quinte and beyond. And now here are your hosts, Jeremy and Joshua Davis.
Yes, and welcome to The Other Side Live with Dr. Ken. I'm Jeremy T. Davis. And the blues is calling us home here at the Smokin' 116 Bistro. I'm Joshua Davis and glad to be here. And what I want to first start out with is, Dr. Ken, can you take us back to your humble beginnings of living in Winterberg, Alberta?
Yeah, I grew up originally in just outside of Edmonton, a place called Winterburn. Very remote, hardly any people there. There was, it said "Welcome to Winterburn" on both sides of the sign. That's how small it was. That's an old joke. If you're laughing at it, you're young because you've never heard that before. And I grew up, we didn't have any electricity, running water or anything, so I didn't have any music. I didn't hear any music and at the time, and it was only a little bit later that I sort of was able to access sort of an old radio, I can't remember what you call them now, but crystal radio, and that my brother Dave had actually built at high school, and he brought it home, and I was able to use that to actually listen and discover the whole world of music,
So, you were saying before we went to air, you actually didn't really discover the music until the age of 20. You were at a friend's place. If I recall the story correctly, we were just talking, and you came across an album, and it intrigued you, and that's how you picked it up and discovered the blues. Maybe you can tell our listeners more, and we'll go from there. And we're going to get you to play some unforgettable blues on our show. You play so many distinct styles between Delta blues and other versions of the genre, but we will talk more later on in the show. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I was in my 20s, and I was over at a friend's place who was actually a professor of English at the University of Calgary, and he had an amazing record collection, which was mostly classical music, and I was kind of looking through all the records and trying to find rock and roll, and he didn't have any, and then a whole bunch of jazz music, and then I found this one kind of blues album, by Leadbelly. And so I thought, okay, can I put this on? So I put it on, and I'm listening to it. And at some point, Leadbelly actually bends a note. And that was the first time I ever heard anybody bend a note on a guitar before. And it was like I was thunderstruck. It was an emotional expression. And I realized, you can actually express what you're feeling on a guitar, and know what somebody else, thousands of miles away and distant in time, I knew what they're feeling, So I was stunned by that, and that was my discovery of the blues.
Well, that's just incredible. And, sometimes we don't know where the road of life is going to take us. And, had you not been to that friend's house, had you not been going through the collection, maybe you would have never discovered that. Who knows? So Josh is eagerly awaiting to add to this wonderful conversation on the other side live here today. So take it away, bro. Now stepping back, so to speak, Ken, how is the radio when you first discovered the radio as a boy? How did it define your music as you grew into an adult?
Oh yeah, well, I think the radio introduced me to there wasn't really a lot of blues sound in like rural Alberta on the radio, but it would introduce me to music in general.
Yes.
And then it was kind of later, I think, that I discovered the blues, and the blues like spoke to me, so much.
And also, the blues has a way of communicating to your audience like no other piece of music. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, certainly for me, there's something about the blues that's just like honest and raw, and like you talking about the different like Delta blues and Chicago blues and funky blues and all of that. It's all different, but it all has one thing in common. It's kind of like honesty and emotional expression. And the kind of blues I like, and some of the blues artists, I think you asked me this earlier, some of the blues artists that have really affected me and I was very attuned to were like Taj Mahal, B.B. King, later Cab Mo, and people like that. And they often, both B.B. King and Taj Mahal, they play kind of happy blues in a way. Like they don't want to my dog left me and I'm sitting here crying. Like not that kind of blues where you're kind of although there I don't know I'm guilty of playing some of those songs sometimes too. But when Taj Mahal plays a song, it's kind of it puts a smile on your face, and the same with B.B. King. You listen to B.B. King and you just smile, right? And that's, I think, as a musician and as a blues musician, that's one of the things I've always aimed for when I play is to try to put a smile on people's faces. The blues is about feeling better. The blues is about expressing the blues, so you're not feeling the blues anymore. Now you're feeling something else.
Given the opportunity, Dr. Ken, would you have liked to perform with one of those great artists or not? Also, I want to ask you this, just stepping ahead. Your day job, you're a psychologist, and you said sort of music goes hand in hand because it can soothe you because you want to bring compassion to your audience. Would you like to comment on that for our listeners that may not know?
Yeah, I think definitely music is therapy. Music is healing, and if you use music to express what you're feeling, it changes you, and it helps you heal from things. And so music is very therapeutic, and also I was a trauma psychologist, specializing in trauma and that. So part of that is you listen to really horrible things that have happened to people, and help them heal from it, and you do that sort of day in day out. So that can have a kind of a corrosive effect on you. And so I used to give workshops on things like we call compassion fatigue and burnout and things like that, how to keep yourself resilient when you're doing that so you can continue to be helpful to your clients. And one of the main ways is to have some sort of an interest or hobby outside of your profession.
Could you give us some examples of that for some people that may need that, like some hobbies?
Yeah, again, anything like especially creative stuff like art stuff, painting or art or music or anything where you're engaged with something that's you're doing that is separate completely from the trauma. The trauma might show up in what you're doing, but it's like your brain's in a different place when you're doing it, and that gives you a balance between
Your brain is sort of in your happy zone.
Yeah, it's in the creative zone, and so that's exactly. And
Would you would you like to now that you live in the beautiful Prince Edward County area here in the beautiful Bay of Quinte region, would you like to try and take some of those skills from your day job and your profession um, as a psychologist and your creative skills as a musician and create a program or more workshops to help people in that particular vein, or are you retired from that and concentrating on music full time, Dr. Ken?
yeah, right now I'm retired. I had some medical challenges in the last couple of years, and one of them was like a throat cancer, actually. So it hit me pretty hard, and then I had radiation therapy for it. So, and I'm actually just kind of trying to rehab my voice right now, and sort of recover from that. So that's what I've been doing. But before that, I was involved with a little bit with guitars for vets. And it was a way of just using music to kind of like help people to heal and that. And I could definitely see, a role for that, and maybe putting together something with music and healing.
Well, absolutely. Not only this region needs that, but if I'm so bold enough to say this, I believe the world still needs a lot of healing. Every day for one reason or another. We've all been through a lot as society, in different ways, but it takes you and me and all of us to say, "Don't give up. Things can get better." There could be a better horizon around the bend. But before we get into much more conversation, we've got lots to talk about. Let's just let her rip with one of your favorite blues compositions here at the beautiful Smokin' 116 Bistro and Bar in downtown Belleville. And thank you to Sal and Sharon and all the team for allowing us to be here and hosting us again. Okay, you're going to do Taj Mahal.
I got the blues so bad one time it put my face in a permanent frown. I'm feeling so much better I could take off into town. I woke up this morning feeling so good, I laid back down again. Throw your big leg over me, mama, I might not feel this good again. My baby, oh my baby, I love the way she walks. When the girl gets sleepy, I love the way she makes me talk. I'm gonna go out in the country for a picnic, mama, I'm gonna stay all day. I don't care, I don't do nothing while my time away. got the blues so bad one time I put my face in a permanent frown. I'm feeling so much better I can take walk into town.
Wow. Wonderful. That was awesome. Well, that was just amazing, Dr. Ken, as Josh said there. And so would you? Well, yes, it did make us feel good, and I hope it made our listeners feel good. So, Dr. Ken, would you like to release an EP, or we called them albums back in the day? In Dad's era, particularly, if you don't mind me saying it that way, Dad. So, would you like to do that when you get enough material? You already perform at many different venues. We've seen you rocking out here at the bistro with your whole band on the patio, and that you used to be one of your nicknames was Dr. Feelgood. But you went back to Dr. Ken, just to distinguish yourself. So, would you like to do that album or not?
Wow. You just challenged me to do something, I think. So, yeah, I actually did make one CD when I met my wife, Yolande, and she was like a worship singer. And I, of course, come out of the tradition of the devil's music, which is the blues, right? Robert Johnson, the Crossroads, and all that. So we tried to find like kind of some common ground there. We actually made a CD together, but there's not really any blues on it. It was all, and I was more trying to support like her on it. So it's not my blues sort of stuff, and all that. She's a great singer, sopranic singer, way up there in the stratosphere. And so the answer to your question is, I think you just gave me an idea, and I think I'm going to follow up on that and try to do that if I get my voice back fully. So,
well, we hope we get the first copy, and we will play it on some future editions of Other Side Live. And when we have you back. Now, before I hand it back over to Josh, and we want to do at least one more song and then maybe have one more special performance on our YouTube channel, and hope to have you at some different events in the future. Now, what I wanted to get back to is Josh had mentioned before, and I don't know, we segued into something else. If you had the opportunity, what blues performer would you have liked to perform with? And I put it that way because it could be someone that is past, if we're putting it in that context, or it could be someone from present day. So who do you think you'd like to perform with? You already alluded to influences such as B.B. King and all of that. Have you thought who you would like to be sitting at the table with, having a beer, Dr. Ken, and jamming out?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people, like Stevie Ray Vaughan was just like when Texas Flood came out, it was just like a lightning bolt. It was unbelievable what he was doing, and he covered such a gamut of music from that very aggressive Texas blues style to kind of what I would call jazz, like very, and I think he would have done a little bit maybe more of that if he hadn't passed, unfortunately, so early. Buddy Guy is another one, he's just crazy on guitar, and he's always, he always has a sense of humor with his playing too, he makes you laugh when he plays guitar, right? It's just like he's always got this big grin on his face, and I think my answer to that, if I could just sort of show up anywhere in time and it would probably be like with Muddy Waters in Chicago.
What would you say to the people out there that have so many dreams playing music, and they get a little afraid or apprehensive to express themselves. And how would you tell them to go for the gold, so to speak? You know, and um, like you're playing the guitar. So what were your first real good pieces of advice how to play the guitar chords for the first time?
Yeah, there's I mean, music's so important, and I think there's a lot of people picking up guitars and trying to learn things, and a lot of it, like when I first started, you hear people who are just like so incredible. You think, oh, I'm never gonna be able to do that, and so you kind of, it's easy to give up or get discouraged, and I would say, you know what, or people listen, you hear Stevie Ray Vaughan go, I could never do that, and things like that. Playing music is about being you. Like, it's expressing who you are. You don't have to be Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Django Reinhardt, B.B. King, or anybody. The important thing is to be you. And the other thing, and I think really from Buddy Guy, one of the great things about Buddy Guy's guitar playing is, he's not afraid of having a train wreck. He almost kind of welcomes having a train wreck. So you play a guitar, he bends it like, wait, okay, that was a little bit too much there, But he's not afraid of that. So you forget perfect. Don't worry about being perfect.
Having train wreck moments just lets you know that you're human.
Yeah, welcome the train wrecks, and keep going, and then that's it's nobody's perfect. In fact, the whole idea of perfection it doesn't really exist, So, and the blues is actually about being flawed anyway. It's all like the stuff that happened that didn't go the way that you wanted it to, and so kind of just owning that that's okay. That's part of being human. It's like, it's all right.
Do you like some of the Southern blues?
The Southern blues, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure. When I was back in Calgary, there was this coffee shop called Sanchez, and we used to have different people come there, and play music at this little coffee shop. And one was Louisiana Red. And, most of these people you never heard of before, and they were just on tour, trying to make a living and support if they had an album out. And, so it's a lots of great musicians out there, blues musicians who, you've never made it, in terms of, the financial success anyway.
Well, yes, we see exactly where you're going with that, but even if they didn't make it financially, maybe they left the greater impact than they ever knew on the genre itself. Now, before we run out of time, would you like to perform one of your great influences on the Other Side Live? Either Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy, or B.B. King, or who have you got? What music have you got with you today that you would like to share in that regard there, Dr. Ken? And we'll have you back real soon.
So a song actually by Hop Wilson, who's a Chicago blues artist, but like Albert Collins did a version of it, and it's just really cool. So this is called Black Hat Bone, and it's usually done on screaming electric guitars, and I just have this little mini piano here with me, so I'll see what I can do with that to give you at least a taste of the song.
A little taste, and then they'll have to come out and see you live.
black cat bone. I believe she's got a black cat bone. Everything I do, I do it wrong. I walked down from Dallas, Texas, all the way down to Wichita Falls, thinking about my big-legged woman, you know. It was no walk at all. I believe she's got a black cat bone. Everything I do, I do it wrong. I said, hey, baby, you've been criticizing me now for 30 years. She said it was 31. Everything I do, I do it wrong. Everything I do, I do it wrong. I got it, right? Everything I do it wrong.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ken, and I see we're quickly running out of time, so we will have to have you back. We'll have to have a whole series separate of Other Side Live Goes to the Blues. But people wanting to learn more about you, tell them how they can contact you and find out where you'll be performing, and check out our YouTube channel, and we're going to record a live performance of Dr. Ken right here at the bistro, so don't miss it. So tell us how they can get a hold of you, and we'll go from there.
Well, my email is kenwelburn@gmail.com. That's probably the best way.
And you'll be performing at some upcoming venues?
Yeah, right now I don't have anything lined up right at the moment because I've been working on getting my voice back, but hopefully things will open up for me in the summer. Yeah.
So
and thanks so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it. And Jeremy and Joshua, keep rocking.
We had a blast, and maybe we'll go on the road with you.
Yes.
Are you writing some more music in the meantime for upcoming project, or not?
Yeah, I'm jamming with a few people and trying to put a band together, and I've been writing some music and that too. So have some original stuff that's kind of blues and rocky and folk and all over the place. So
this has been The Other Side Live with Dr. Ken. I'm Jeremy T. Davis, or AKA one of the Blues Brothers, and I'm Joshua Elwood Davis, and we'll see you next week. And remember, we're on a mission from God, so God bless you and keep smiling. Cheers. Check out the YouTube page for another performance.
The Other Side Radio Show is a production of the Other Side Media Group in association with 91X. You can connect on Facebook at the Other Side Media Group, Instagram at Jeremy Tyler Davis, or on YouTube at Jeremy T. Davis, Belleville, Ontario for on-demand episodes and more. Tune in next week for another episode of the Other Side Radio Show.